What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode number 175 of Park to Prem here with Town or Town. Today we are going to be kicking things off with the EFL Cup final, and following on from that we've got the Champions League second leg against Dortmund. And well, yesterday we had the first leg. If you missed that, obviously go watch it. And before we get into today's episode, just a little reminder that this summer, in this save game, we have an exciting world competition going on, the FIFA Club World Cup, which in real life is getting reformatted to happen once every 4 years. Obviously in the past it's been a yearly thing, but that is going to be changing in the not so distant future. That is reflected in Football Manager, and I've been waiting for this moment since we won the Champions League a few years ago. Finally, the summer has come where we will be competing with the best of the best to try and be the best club in the world. So that's something to look forward to in the summer. But, well, hopefully, today isn't going to mark the end of our competition spree, because, of course, we've got the EFL Cup final. We are still in the FA Cup as things stand. Of course, the Champions League, a 2-1 defeat previously. Not exactly ideal. And well, when it comes to the actual league itself, we are in a very, very pretty spot. We currently are sat top of the league by 19 points. There are only 27 points left on offer. I have a sneaking suspicion we could lose every one of our remaining games and still win the league. I don't want to do that, obviously. I really want to go unbeaten. We've not lost and there's not many games left. However, there is still a few slightly testing games, I guess, between now and the end of the season. Anyway, since you were last here, 2 games played. One of these was one such testing game. It was against Liverpool, away from home at Anfield. 0-0. Yeah, not really a classic, I'm going to be honest. Let's just move on to the next one, which was against Aston Villa, newly promoted, and Hemingway getting 2 goals to his name. The 18-year-old signed for £41 million. That is a ridiculous sum of money to spend on a player, but I really feel like this guy has just incredible potential as far as English strikers go. And while the 2 goals in this game kind of proved the point, he got 2 of them both off the back, if I'm not mistaken, of Sammy Turnell crosses. So yes, the left wing back switching over to the far side. Vincent is unfortunately injured at the moment off the back of the game that we had against Dortmund. However, in his place, the Frenchman has really stepped up and, well, yeah, he was provider on 2 occasions in this game here. And, well, with 14 appearances in the Premier League, he has 7 assists to the left back. He is looking really, really solid. It can't be underestimated how much he has improved. Of course, was at the club, then we let him go to Birmingham. We signed him back a year later. And even just in the last, well, however many months the season's been, you can see it here, the last 8 months, his improvements have been really, really notable for a player in his early 20s. So, yeah, the sky really feels like the limit for him. I'm kind of keen and excited to see just how much better he can become in the near future. But yeah, as far as wing-backs go, he's been doing the business for us. And well, let's hope he can continue to do the business today. We are going to be taking on Chelsea. In terms of the team for the first game of today's episode, it's pretty much a full strength 11 with the one exception of Vincent. He's still unfortunately out for up to 3 weeks, which makes him very, very likely to miss the Dortmund game, which is only in 10 days' time. You can see the fixtures continuing to come thick and fast. And well, the EFL Cup final, a little distraction, I suppose, away from the big fish that we want to fry. And that big fish is Borussia Dortmund. I don't know if we've got a frying pan big enough for them, having lost the first leg 2-1. It's not ideal, but I'll tell you what, the 1 away goal is pretty good. I don't think we're completely out of the game by any means. And in a weird way, now losing to Dortmund, to now lose that unbeaten run that extended over 1 calendar year, I feel almost more relaxed about things. There's less pressure on me to lose that unbeaten run. It's gone. We don't have to stress about it anymore. We're now just playing without the record books looming over us. It's all about, you know, just the success of this season. And well, let's hope the success of this season is going to continue here. We are going to be taking on Chelsea, who last time I checked were still managed by Frank Lampard. Indeed they are. They're currently 8th in the Premier League. Yeah, they have had a pretty awful season, although their last 4 games have been rather solid, especially when you compare them to Tottenham's, whom, well, they've lost the last 5 games in a row, bless Tottenham. It's not looking great for them. Brighton up in 4th, having a season to remember down on the south coast, so fair play to them. But let's see if we can add another memory, I suppose, here at Town or Town. Another EFL Cup. We've won it twice before. It won't be 3 in a row, unfortunately, because there was the 1 year where we slipped up, but this would be for 2 in a row. And well, we're going to be called into some defensive action here as Thomas brings the ball forward for Chelsea. Whipped in, Millet heads it over. I think in goal, well, I think it was covered by Morgan, to be honest. The header went over the crossbar. It's a fairly common sight this year in Football Manager, is the header over the crossbar. But yeah, nothing to stress about there. And well, we're going to get a little bit shouty I may have got shouty too early on there, players not really reacting, but there is a highlight, so maybe it did have an effect. If we do score from it, I'm going to claim some credit in some way. And while Cesar switching the play over to Sammy Tunnell, so much space for him. Talked about his assist record, looking for another. Falls to Norman. And Tunnell is given the assist there. I'm not convinced he should get the assist there, but he's been gifted it. 9th goal of the season for Steve Norman. There was a comment on yesterday's video commenting on the fact that Turnbull has got more goals than Norman, and so surely, you know, Norman should be dropped for Turnbull. You've got to remember, Turnbull is playing against a weaker opposition, generally speaking, and Norman is playing alongside Shvetsov and alongside Frost, who are the 2 top goal scorers in the Premier League. So as much as you might want to say he's rubbish, he's clearly not that bad because he's got the most assists in the league, and the 2 strikers who play alongside him have the most goals. Not every striker can score goals in a 3-striker system. Some of them have got to be the wingman. I think Norman is our wingman. Anyway, ball whipped in. Shvetsov, free header at the near post. Unfortunately, over the crossbar. I will say now, I don't feel like we've scored as many set pieces, especially from corners, compared to last year. The end of last year, where Shvetsov kind of hit a whole new goal-scoring level. So many of his goals came from headers from corners, and, well, that's just not happened to the same extent this year. We are on the attack here, though, and it's Frost. Over to Mateus Aurelio. Options queuing up in the middle. Andre's there as well. Back to Mateus Aurelio. Lovely build-up play. Can there be a bit of an end product? Not the first time of asking. Kaiser back to McCassie, who's caught in possession. Melee through. Morrigan, can you come to the rescue? Yes, he can. A huge strong hand in the one-on-one. The defender, I think Cesar there, covered really nicely, actually. Forced the Melee, who was breaking through, to take an early shot. And, well, he took the early shot, and Morrigan was more than up to it. But still, a very, very good save there to get a hand to it. And that's going to be the end of that highlight. Although we're going straight into another. Just as you thought maybe we're going to get a moment to collect ourselves and, you know, have a half-time break. No, there could be another. And if it's a second goal for us, that would be lovely, Football Manager. Mateus Aurelio, options in the middle, queuing up, whips it. Norman's there, falls to Shvetsov for his 34th goal of the season. It's 2-0 in the EFL Cup final. And whilst I know some people will say, you know, it's the EFL Cup final, Jack, it's not a proper final. It's still another trophy for the cabinet, and I want it. I don't know how Aurelio's been given the assist here. Both our wing-backs have been on the receiving end of, I feel like, fortuitous Football Manager assists, where maybe they whip the ball in and a defender gets to it but doesn't clear it. Either way, it's 2-0, so that is the goal that I wanted before half-time. But another highlight immediately. Could it be 3-0 before the break? Ball whipped in, Norman back post, tight angle, hits it, falls to Shvetsov for the rebound for his second of the game. And I'll tell you what, Chelsea haven't done anything in this half. They've had 1 shot on target all half. We have been by far and away the better team here. We absolutely deserve our lead. And Shvetsov, 35 for the year. The ball whipped in. I thought Norman here needed to pull it back. It was an impossible angle, but Vial in goal for Chelsea palmed it into the path of the Russian. He tucks it away. And I don't want to get too carried away, but this reminds me of the EFL Cup final of 3 years ago. The one where Andy Eric, of all people, you may remember, he got a hat-trick against Arsenal in a half. Similar vibes here today. A 3-0 lead at the break. This is why we are so far ahead at the top of the table. Even some of the big boys, and I know it's a big boy who isn't perhaps in the best of form in Chelsea, but even the big boys just can't hang with us. Going to take off Frost for Cancina. Holman on a booking scares me. Chalet, come onto the pitch. We'll hold on to our last sub for now. Let's not get too carried away. There is still 25 minutes here, and well, Chelsea have a chance. If they score now, maybe you'd give them well, I was about to say a little bit of hope. There is no hope. Zidane's headed it wide. Okay, Kaiser's got a buck in. Let's now make the sub. Craig Austin, come on down. Have some fun. But no, it's been a very good performance here. A very convincing performance. And then, of course it happens. Of course, after I make the changes, now we get that injury that I talked about being fearful of. So now we're down a man. As soon as Kaiser gets booked and I sub him off, McCassie gets injured. Let's not hope that's not anything too serious. Although I would say, of all positions, our strongest area of the pitch is probably at centre-back. And, well, that's just ended very quickly. We win the EFL Cup. It's a 3-0 result. No goals in the second half. I did notice Mariba for Chelsea left the pitch with 5 minutes left. So they were down a man as the final whistle went. It finishes 3-0 here. I'm very pleased, boys. But it's nice. But there's still a Champions League game to worry about today. That is still kind of the very next thing on my mind. Just worrying about that. We win the EFL Cup again. McCassie out for 2 to 3 weeks. That probably means he's out for the next game. Well, the next game of today's episode. And the next games, I suppose, prior to that. Which is going to be... who is our next game? We've got Man City to play, I know that much. And Crystal Palace in the FA Cup. But anyway, those 2 games are fairly insignificant in comparison to the Borussia Dortmund game. It's in 10 days' time. Let's jump forward to it. We'll also recap these other games. Hopefully we're still unbeaten. Hopefully we're still in the FA Cup. And well, hopefully we can beat Dortmund at home. Let's do this. So here we are, guys. And I feel like we've been here before. German opposition down and not out. But very much in danger going into a second leg. We're taking on Dortmund today. And, well, since we won the Champions League, it's really not been a happy hunting ground. If we just recap, of course, last year, knocked out on away goals against Bayern Munich. 1-1, it finished after 2 legs. The year before that, the Champions League, if we just take a peek at it, didn't go to plan. We crashed out against Atletico Madrid. That was in the second round. That was in the quarterfinals. And, of course, the year before that, we did win the whole thing. But 2 years where we've really not had the kind of, I guess, Champions League campaign that we should be having, to be frank. And we need to turn it around here today against Dortmund. Now, since we were last here, we have played 2 games. We'll cover them both. I'm just going to show the highlights for the first, which was against Man City, whilst I talk about both. But yes, 2 games played, 1 in the league, 1 in the FA Cup. The first of which was against Man City. A 3-2 win in this game. A ding-dong affair. Yes, it was a bit of a mad one. We got off to the best possible start. A goal via Andrei Shvetsov in the first 10 minutes. They then replied with a really, really good goal. A powerful finish that I don't feel like Morrigan had any chance of stopping. There was then an exchange of set pieces in the second half. Within a minute of each other, we took the lead through Craig Austin before Calabrese scored for them. And well, in the 94th minute, we were given a gift. It was as if Man City wanted us to beat them. The ball passed to Shvetsov expertly. He took it away. 3-2 it finished. And well, in the FA Cup, a 6-2 win against Crystal Palace. A very good result there. Hemingway with a hat-trick in this game. The £41 million man. I definitely feel like there were eyebrows raised after he spent all that money on him. I mean, if he can, take this form that he's performed so far in the cup games into the league in the coming years, he's going to look like a fantastic piece of business at the price that we've got him for. But anyway, they're the 2 games, 2 wins, 2 fairly standard results. With that win in the Champions League, we guaranteed ourselves, or not the Champions League, sorry, the Premier League, we guaranteed ourselves a top 4 finish, so our budgets have been set for next year. £80 million to spend, £200,000 in the wage budget. I don't know what we're going to spend that on yet. I feel like we need to wait and see what happens today. And well, let's get into this. I'm nervous. I'm scared. We're taking on Dortmund. We have had a good opportunity to rest our players. In terms of team news for today's game, Vincent not fully fit, not worth risking in this game. McCassie also out. He's just not fit to play. And Claudio Holman, another additional player missing. A really important player for us as well. Make no mistake, in the Champions League especially, he's been very, very inspirational for us. And well, we're without him. And you may remember last year when we lost Bayern Munich, we were without him. He had a hip injury on that occasion. So a weird sense of deja vu, I suppose, in terms of how it impacts the team. Tanel obviously going to come in at left back, and Matasevic and Andre going to play alongside each other. I don't feel like this season we've really established our first choice centre mids. Things have been rotated extremely heavily. Although that is very much the case across the squad here. You can see even players like Jarno Leskinen still had 14 starts to his name. Even players who you would definitely consider big rotation options are in the double figures for matches, and some even approaching 20 games played. So, make no mistake, this has been a squad season so far, and it's a squad season again today, and a squad performance needed today. Let's see how we get on. It's 2-1 after the first leg. We've got the one crucial away goal. And, well, if we get one goal, then Dortmund know they have to score. So, that's something. Although, if they were to score and it finished 1-1, of course, they would just go through. Really, what I'm hoping for here is I could talk to you about all the possible scenarios that we need. The reality is what we need here is a comfortable win. It's what I'm hoping we can give. Of course, they've got Mandelli up front, who's absolutely terrifying. But we've got our own firepower. We've got our own talent. And whilst I'm not going to panic after 20 minutes of no highlights, I am hoping for something fairly soon in this game. I would love us to come into this game and completely blow them out the water just like we did to Chelsea. Anyway, Austin in at left centre-back as well. Of course, I forgot to mention that. McCarthy out, Austin in, another player breaking in as part of this rotation that's been forced upon us. Well, we have a chance here. Frost! His header just over the crossbar, landing on the roof of the net. The first real chance of the game after, half an hour is that. There's not been many shots at all. In fact, one shot on target per team. But a set piece here. Maticevic whips it back post. Austin's there. It's going to be ruled out. Don't celebrate it. What's it going to be disallowed for? Go on, break my heart, VAR. What did you see that I didn't see? I think it was a foul rather than an offside. I think Austin pushed the guy in the back. Otherwise, we would have had the offside. Oh, no, it was... Okay, it was offside. VAR not wanting to show us it. I don't want to call corruption, but I've got question marks. If you're not going to show the highlight, can I trust it? Mandeli's through. Oh, my word. Oh, my word. What an insane finish by the Italian. And we need a comeback, everyone. We need a comeback. Daniele Mandelli. He's good. He's good. I mean, on his right foot, smashes it. No keeper in the world stops that. No keeper in the world stops that. That is not good. We're going to go on attacking. I am wondering about bringing out the 4-2-4. We now need 2 goals. And, of course, if they score 1 more goal, we have to score 4. And we are in a bit of a pickle. I mean, we're already in a bit of a pickle. Let's get out of that pickle. Norman, help us. Get us out the jar full of pickles. De Andre hits it. Block. Kaiser shoots. Shoots again. I mean, Kevin Kaiser, what a time to get your first goal of the season, lad. Let's go to positive. I want to shout to man more. I can't shout at them again. It's not a classic in terms of goals. Andre tried. Kaiser tried. And then he tried again for a 3rd time. And eventually we've made it through. Keeper diving to block the initially kind of blocked Kaiser effort. Bit of fortune about it, but fortune favours the brave. We went on attacking. We were brave. We've shouted to man more. Could we get a goal before half-time? No. No more highlights. 1-1 at the break. Meanwhile, you might have noticed it in the other semi-final currently going on. It's 0-0 between Manchester United and FC Porto. They have played a match and a half and not had a goal. So it could be worse. We could be a United fan or a Porto fan, I suppose. Anyway, Sami Tunnell throwing it forward here. Of course, 1 goal for us would take it to extra time if it stays like it is. If they score 1, though, we are in a pickle. We need 3. And they're on the attack here. Elisha to Erb. The right back hits it. Morrigan doesn't even move. I mean, he can shrug his shoulders all he wants. He just hasn't stopped it. And you know what? We need 3. We need a miracle. It's time. It's time, everyone. This is what we've been preparing for all these years. We're bringing in the big guns. Cancina on the left. Norman on the right. Shvetsov and Frost through the middle. It's a risk. It's a gamble. There's actually a highlight going on here. I probably should have paused the game in hindsight, but our tactical changes are going to take effect. We're going to the 4-2-4. We need 3 goals. We can't concede another, or we need 4. This game will not go to extra time. It is going to be settled in the next half an hour, and we really need to book our ideas up, otherwise we are going to whimper out. And it would be so disappointing in another season where we performed so well domestically in the league to just struggle in the knockouts. Rabona'd. Oh my word. Steve Norman has just done a Rabona. Completely unnecessary. Completely unnecessary by Steve, but who am I to judge? It was a perfect ball into the box. And, it was a sick goal, literally. It's making me feel sick. What a ball in. Oh my word, Frost. Okay, well, if you're going to inspire a comeback, that kind of Rabona is probably how the comeback's going to begin. Let's up the tempo. Let's get more direct. We need 2 more goals, everyone. There is only 15 minutes left, and nothing is happening. A highlight begins. I was getting ready to make some changes. We'll wait and let this play out. If we concede 1, it is game over. Cancina's on the pitch, though, and Cancina, he's dangerous. He is dangerous, although they've worked the ball quite nicely here in the wide areas. Now with Jose Ramon. Plays it inside to Canero. Tenglong here. Chinese international. Back to Ramon. I mean, they're passing it around the back here. We've got plenty of men behind the ball, but can we deal with it and then spring a counter-attack? That's what I'm hoping for. It's not happening, though. Mandelli gives and goes. Oh, my word. They score again. Bar Elisha. Killing me. You're killing me, man. It's not what we want to see. It's not... It wasn't the plan. It was not the plan. I'm going to go to regular wingers, I think. We've got a couple of subs that we can make. Dylan Turnbull, come on for Frost. And you know what? One last sub. One last roll of the dice. Remy Chalet, come on down, my friend. Come on down. Have a party with us. We need goals. And we need them, well, as soon as possible. It is 5-3. We need 3 goals in 10 minutes. You've heard the tales of Istanbul. We need a bigger comeback than that. And it's just not going to happen for us. Why are we cursed in the Champions League? What did we do wrong in this competition? Look at the stats. Look at the... I mean, they've just had a few half chances and taken them. Mandelli, crush me. Go on, break my heart some more, Daniele. Break my heart some more. How has this finished 4-2? I'm getting deja vu, everyone. 3 years in a row and we've not got further than the quarter-final. The last 2 years, knocked out in the first round. We can go unbeaten in the league all these years as much as we want. If we don't turn up in these kind of games, there's absolutely no point. Oh, it's so upsetting. I mean, some of the goals towards the end are just as a consequence of us gambling and throwing men forward, which we had to do at the point we were at. Maybe we should be more like Man United and just not concede goals. I'm so upset about that. The board are going to be upset as well, and I can't really blame them. I mean, Dortmund are very, very good. They are very, very good, but we have failed in our objective. I mean, you can see they're upset by it. If we just look at Dortmund, they're good, right? They're predicted to finish first. They've got a lot of very good players. They've got this guy, Elias Schumacher. I mean, just have a flick through their team. I'm kind of curious now. Schrabel is another incredible centre-back. They've got this guy, Tolga Erdogan, who's only played 1 Champions League game all year. I mean, their team is good. Their team is probably one of the few teams that I would say could go toe-to-toe with our team. You look at the... I mean, they've got some incredible players, to be honest. I'm now realising how ridiculous this Dortmund team is. I am now starting to realise just how insane this team is. The quality that they possess is absolutely nuts. I mean, if they won any Champions Leagues recently, they won it in 2035. So they won it a couple of years ago and they won it in 2030. I would not be surprised if they win it again. What does the Bundesliga table look like? I mean, yeah, you can see here. They're miles ahead of Bayern Munich, who beat us last year. Oh, it's heartbreaking. They're just quite good, is the bottom line. They're just quite good, and unfortunately, even when we played better than them, you know, in some elements, created more chances, they just took the opportunities that came their way. And unfortunately, if you only score 2 and you concede 4, you're always in a little bit of bother. But anyway, there's no point in trying to dwell on it too much. We've got the Club World Cup to look forward to. We're still in the FA Cup as well. In terms of what we're going to be doing next episode, I don't really know. I may take a day off tomorrow, and I think we'll come back potentially for the last couple of games of the season, maybe even just the last game of the season, see if we can get the unbeaten season over the line in the league. Once that's done, and really the Champions League is the final frontier, and this series is going to become entirely about me winning 1 more Champions League, which, given the past few seasons, feels like it could be a little way off, but I want to believe it's possible. And, well, we've got to look very much forward to the Club World Cup on the horizon as well, where, knowing my luck, we'll probably meet Dortmund again in the first round. But anyway, guys, that's going to wrap up everything from me today. I'm sorry we couldn't deliver. We weren't good enough. We need to step it up in the European competitions. All the rotation in the team isn't worth anything if we can't get results when they matter. I will catch you again next time. The unbeaten season is still very much on. Hopefully we can grab it, and I will see you in a couple of days. Thank you so much for your support on the series. Really appreciate it. And, well, that's all from me today. It's me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.